ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नाम्ने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, Verse 7. Tattvam rajastama iti prakritirnatmano gunaha na tesham yugapatrajan rasa ullasa eva va. My dear King Parikshit, the material qualities, Sattva-guna, Rajoguna and Tamoguna, all belong to the material world and do not even touch the Supreme Person of Godhead. These three gunas cannot act by increasing or decreasing simultaneously. The original position of the Supreme Person of Godhead is one of equality. There is no question of his being influenced by Sattva-guna, Rajoguna or Tamoguna, for these material qualities cannot touch the Supreme Lord. The Lord is therefore called the Supreme Ishvara. Ishvara Parama Krishna. He is the Supreme Controller. He controls the material qualities. Daivi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya. Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Material nature Prakriti works under his order. How then can he be under the qualities of Prakriti? Krishna is never influenced by the material qualities. Therefore, there is no question of partiality in the Supreme Person of Godhead. Like we discussed, he is not under the influence of material qualities, so there is no question of partiality. Jaya Kale tu Sattvasya Devarshin Rajasosuran Tamaso Yaksha Rakshamsi Tatkalanugno Kalanuguno Bhajat. When the quality of goodness is prominent, the sages and demigods flourish with the help of that quality, with which they are infused and surcharged by the Supreme Lord. Similarly, when the mode of passion is prominent, the demons flourish. And when ignorance is prominent, the Yakshas and Rakshasas flourish. The Supreme Person of Godhead is present in everyone's heart, fostering the reactions of Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. Supreme Person of Godhead is not partial to anyone. The conditioned soul is under the influence of the various modes of nature, and behind material nature is the Supreme Lord. But one's victory and loss under the influence of Sattva, Rajo, or Tamoguna are reactions of these modes, not the Supreme Personality's, Supreme Lord's partiality. So just based on our karma, desires, etc., we've acquired different modes, and based on what becomes prominent, what remains prominent. For example, in sages and demigods, those who become sages and demigods, quality of goodness is prominent. Those who become demons, passion is prominent, etc. So accordingly, under the influence of those gunas, jivas act. It's not the Supreme Lord's partiality that he gives one satuguna, gives the other rajoguna, etc. Srila Jiva Goswami in the Bhagavata Sandarbha has clearly said, Satvadayo na santishe yatra cha prakrita gunaha sa shuddha sarva shuddhebhyah puman adyah prasidatu ladini sandini samvit त्वयि एका सर्वका संस्थितौ ह्लादतापकरी मिश्र त्वयि no guna varjite. According to this statement of the Bhagavata Sandarbha, the Supreme Lord, being always transcendental to the material qualities, is never affected by the influence of these qualities. This same characteristic is also present in the living being. But because he is conditioned by material nature, even the pleasure potency of the Lord is manifested in the conditioned soul as troublesome. In the material world, the pleasure enjoyed by the conditioned soul is followed by many painful conditions. For instance, we've seen that in two great wars which were conducted by the Rajoguna and Tamoguna, both parties were actually ruined. The German people declared war against the English to ruin them, but the result was that both parties were ruined. Although the Allies were apparently victorious, at least on paper, actually neither of them were victorious. Therefore, it should be concluded that the Supreme Person of Godhead is not partial to anyone. Everyone works under the influence of various modes of nature, and when the various modes are prominent, demigods or demons appear victorious under the influence of these modes. Everyone enjoys the fruits of his qualitative activities. This is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Sarvadvareshu dehesmin prakasha upajayate gnanam yada tada vidyat vivruddham sattvam ityuta loba pravritirarambha karmanam ashama spruha rajasi etani jayante vivruddhe bharatarshava aprakasho pravrittischa pramado moha eva cha tamasyethani jayante vivruddhe kurunandana. The manifestations of the mode of goodness can be experienced when all the gates of the body are illuminated by knowledge. When there's an increase in the mode of passion, symptoms of great attachment, uncontrollable desire, hankering, and intense endeavor develop. When there's an increase in the mode of ignorance, madness, illusion, inertia, and darkness are manifested. The Supreme Lord, who is present in everyone's heart, simply gives the results of the increase in the various qualities, but he is impartial. He supervises victory and loss, but he does not take part in them. Anumanta Upadrushta. Hmm. The various modes of material nature do not work all at once. The interactions of these modes are exactly like seasonal changes. Sometimes there's an increment of Rajoguna, sometimes Tamoguna, sometimes Sattva. Generally, the demigods are surcharged with Sattva, and therefore, when the demons and demigods fight, the demigods are victorious because of the prominence of their Sattva qualities. However, this is not the partiality of the Supreme Lord. Jyotiradhir iva bhati sanghatan vivichyate vidantyatmanam atitva kavayon. The all-pervading personality of Godhead exists within the heart of every living being, and an expert thinker can perceive how he is present there to a large or small extent. Just as one can understand the supply of fire in wood, the water in a water pot, or the sky within a pot, one can understand whether a living entity is a demon or a demigod by understanding that living entity's devotional performances. A thoughtful man can understand how much a person is favored by the Supreme Lord by seeing his actions. So if by just seeing devotional performances, one can understand what kind of a person one is. Yadyad vibhutimat sattvam srimad-durjitameva va tattadevavagachatvam mama tejomsha sambhavam. Know that all beautiful, glorious, and mighty creations spring from but a spark of my splendor. We have the practical experience of seeing that one person is able to do very wonderful things, whereas another cannot do those same things and cannot even do things that require only a little common sense. Therefore, how much a devotee has been favored by the Supreme Lord can be tested by the activities the devotee has performed. Lord also says, Tesham sataduktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Those who are constantly devoted and who worship me with love, satata yukta, constantly devoted, bhajatam, they worship Preeti Purvakam, with love. I give them the understanding by which they can come to me. This is very practical. A teacher instructs a student if the student is capable of taking more and more instructions. Very nice. See? Otherwise, in spite of being instructed by the teacher, the student cannot make strides in his understanding. This has nothing to do with partiality. When Krishna says, Tesham Satatayuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam, this indicates that Krishna is prepared to give Bhakti Yoga to everyone, but one must be capable of receiving it. That is the secret. So one must be capable of receiving it, meaning one must have made progress. So a teacher instructs a student if the student is capable of taking more. This is the key, right? That is the secret. Thus, when a person exhibits wonderful devotional activities, a thoughtful man understands that Krishna has been more favorable to this devotee. This is not difficult to understand, but envious persons do not accept that Krishna has bestowed his favor upon a particular devotee in accordance with his advanced position. Such foolish persons become envious and try to minimize an advanced devotee's activities. That is not Vaishnavism. A Vaishnava should appreciate the service rendered to the Lord by other Vaishnavas. Therefore, a Vaishnava is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as Nirmatsara. Vaishnavas are never envious of other Vaishnavas or of anyone else. Why only other Vaishnavas? Therefore, they are called Nirmatsaranam Satam. So we should understand this. We should be happy to recognize, appreciate somebody else's, achievements, whatever their services they have done. As Bhagavad Gita informs us, one can understand how one is saturated with Sattva-guna, Rajoguna, or Tamoguna. In the examples given here with fire represents the mode of goodness. One can understand the constitution of a container for wood, petrol, or other inflammable substances by the quantity of the fire. Similarly, water represents Rajoguna, mode of passion. A small skin and the vast Atlantic Ocean both contain water, and by seeing the quantity of water in a container, one can understand the size of the container. The sky represents the mode of ignorance. Sky is present in small earthen pot and also in outer space. Thus, by proper judgment, one can see who is a Devata, who is an Asura, according to the qualities of Sattva, Raja and Tamoguna. One cannot judge whether a person is a Devata, Asura, or a Rakshasa by seeing him. But a sane person can understand this by the activities the person performs. A general description is given in the Padma Purana. Vishnu Bhakta Smrito Daiva Asurastad Viparyayaha. A devotee of Lord Vishnu is a demigod, whereas an Asura or Yaksha is just the opposite. An Asura is not a devotee of Lord Vishnu. Instead, for his sense gratification, he is a devotee of the demigods, Bhutas, Pretas, and so on. Thus, one can judge who is a Devata, who is a Rakshasa, and who is an Asura by how they conduct their activities. The word Atmanam in this verse means Paramatmanam. The Paramatma, or Super Soul, is situated in the core of everyone's heart, Antataha. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddesha Arjuna Tishtati. The Ishvara, Supreme Lord, being situated in everyone's heart, gives directions to everyone in terms of one's capabilities in taking the instructions. The instructions of Bhagavad Gita are open to everyone, but some people understand them properly, whereas others understand them so improperly that they cannot even believe in the existence of Krishna. Although reading Krishna's book, although the Gita says Sri Bhagavan Vacha, indicating that Krishna spoke, they cannot understand Krishna. This is due to their misfortune or incapability, which is caused by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. It is because of these modes that they cannot even understand Krishna, whereas an advanced devotee like Arjuna understands him and glorifies him, saying Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pariptram Paramam Bhavan. You are the supreme Brahman, the supreme abode and purifier. Krishna is open to everyone, but one needs the capability to understand him. By external features, one cannot understand who is favored by Krishna and who is not. According to one's attitude, Krishna becomes one's direct advisor, or Krishna becomes unknown. So this Prabhupada has mentioned in the first chapter only. Krishna directly controls. the senses of a pure devotee, and he directs to the extent of surrender for others. So, based on his attitude, it is not Krishna's partiality, it is his response. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. It is response to one's ability to understand him. According to one's receptiveness, Krishna's quality is proportionately exhibited. So, long discussion about this concept. So, we should understand that when devotees speak about deeper truths of Krishna, about Krishna, we can understand that they have achieved more progress. So we should respect them, serve them, etc. So in one sense, the extent of advancement a devotee has made can be understood from his or her realizations. So that's the key. This proportionate exhibition of Krishna's power is misunderstood by less intelligent men to be Krishna's partiality, but actually it is not such thing. Krishna is equal to everyone, and according to one's ability to receive the favor of Krishna, one advances in Krishna consciousness. See, according to one's ability to receive favor, what is this meaning of receiving favor of Krishna? Is to follow his instructions, follow the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. So the more we follow instructions, the more we become favored. Because then by following those instructions, we advance. And then when we advance, Krishna gives more mercy. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a particular example. In the sky, there are many luminaries. At night, even in darkness, the moon is extremely brilliant and can be directly perceived. The sun is also extremely brilliant. When covered by clouds, however, these luminaries are not distinctly visible. Similarly, the more one advances in Sattva-guna, the more his brilliance is exhibited by devotion and service. But the more one is covered by Rajoguna and Tamoguna, the less visible his brilliance, for he is covered by these qualities. The visibility of one's qualities does not depend on the partiality of the Supreme Person of Godhead. It is due to various coverings in different proportions. Thus, one can understand how far he has advanced in terms of Sattva Guna and how much he is covered by Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So, we can understand this very easily. Based on whatever conditioned state is, we can see how much we have advanced. And sometimes we might be really fallen, but by the mercy of some devotee, by some solid association, solid sadhana, we might actually, make progress. So, like Prabhupada says, like even in Nectar of Instruction, it depends on the attitude of the follower. So, it's all our attitude. What does this attitude mean? What is the meaning of attitude? Anybody? What is the meaning of attitude?
Pranam Prabhuji. Prabhuji,
Yeah.
it's how sincerely and strictly we follow the
Okay.
instructions.
Sincere, strictly. Okay. Sincere, strict. So, in simple words, in simple language, we can say our approach to Krishna consciousness. Meaning, so sometimes, we put restrictions ourselves. Krishna is saying, I will give you something. I'll say, no, 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 but, I'm not qualified for this. So, like that. So, attitude must be that simply, sincerely try to follow whatever has been said. And don't think that you're qualified. So unfortunately, many times we think we are qualified. And we say, okay, by my qualification, I'm disqualified. As in, we judge for ourselves and we restrict mercy coming our way. Mm, like, yeah, I can only do so much. That is our attitude. But if we say, okay, if Guru willing, Krishna willing, Prabhupada willing, anything can be done. It's not my ability. That's attitude. Saying I'm not going to follow this, or this is difficult for me, is attitude. Say, yeah. So these things are simply, we should actually keep away our individuality, in the sense that our independent thought process, and simply whatever Prabhupada has written is possible. Whatever Prabhupada has written has to be done. So if we simply follow that, then our attitude will be one of receiving mercy. We are ready to receive mercy by following instructions. Sometimes we see, like book distribution, no, I think we can only do 5 books. Krishna will say Tathastu. That is our attitude. Somebody says, no, 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 we want to do, 100. Krishna says Tathastu. It depends on our attitude. So everything that we do in devotion depends on our attitude. Mm. So we have to be very careful that we are not carried away by our conditioning. Mostly, we carry our conditioning into Krishna consciousness. So our attitude is also influenced by that conditioning. And which is why we have to get over Traigunya Vishaveda Nistraigunya Bhavarjuna. We have to raise above the 3 modes, which is our attitude. So please remember, this is the most critical thing for our progress in Krishna consciousness, our attitude. Our attitude towards philosophy, our attitude towards mm, instructions, our attitude uh, towards other devotees, mm, everything. It's all about our attitude, our mindset. Mm. So we should not let our conditioning spoil us. It's very important. The other important thing is, the more we progress, the more mercy we will get. So this is also very, very important. And like I said, more progress means more properly following instructions. That is more progress, more mercy. Everything follows. Mm. So Krishna gives more to one who has capability of taking more. Sometimes Krishna gives and then we restrict ourselves. No, 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 this is too much. I can't deal with this. I can't handle it. And we give up. Or at least we are in a mood to give up. Again, that is also attitude. Difficulties come, we get bogged down. Attitude. Hmm. Some devotees, in spite of all difficulties, they'll say, no, 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 they have faith in Krishna. No, Krishna will do the needful. Let me just try. Attitude. So please note, this is very, 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 very important. This whole attitude business is what is going to make or break our devotion. Any questions on this? Attitude. Okay. यदा शिशुक्षुपुर आत्मनः परो रजस्रजत्येष पृथक् स्वमायया सत्त्वं विचित्रासुरिमरिरंसुर ईश्वरः शयिष्यमाणस्तम ईरयत्यसौ. And the Supreme Person of Godhead creates different types of bodies, offering a particular body to each living entity according to his character and fruitive actions. The Lord revives all the qualities of material nature. So which means that everybody, when every body has different gunas to different extents. Then as the super soul, he enters each body and influences the qualities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, using sattva guna for maintenance, sattva guna for creation, tamo guna for annihilation. In their activities. In each of our activities, we have qualities of creation, maintenance, annihilation. That the super soul, he enters our bodies and then he rejuvenates, or he brings to life our qualities, so to speak, based on our previous character and actions. And we should always understand our current character and actions, mostly continuation of what it was in our last life. Unless we come across some very mm, life altering kind of situation. Otherwise, it's just simply continuity. We are just continuing from where we left off last life. So we have to also understand saying that we have in our character there will be good and bad things. There might be some things conditioned by lower modes. We might have some bad nature. We might also have some good nature. So, and our constant endeavor is to purify this character, this nature of ours, and move more from tamoguna to rajoguna to satoguna. All the material nature is conducted by three qualities. Nature is not independent. Maya dakshena prakritihi. The different changes in the material world takes place as actions and reactions of the three gunas. But above the three gunas is the director, the Supreme Lord. In the various types of bodies given to the living entities by material nature, yantra, rudha, nimaya, either sattva, raja, or tamo is prominent. The body is produced by material nature according to the direction of the Supreme Lord. Therefore, it is said here, yada shishukshuhu pura atmana paraha, indicating that the body is certainly created by the Lord. Karmana daivanetrena jantur deha upapatte, according to the karma of the living entity. Daivanetrena, body is prepared under the Daivanetra, supervision of Supreme Lord. When the bodies of Satoguna, Rajoguna, or Tamoguna, everything is done by the direction of the Supreme Lord through the agency of external energy. In this way, in different types of bodies, the Lord gives directions as Paramatma, and again, to destroy the body, he employs the Tamoguna. This is the way the living entities receive different types of bodies. See, just imagine. This is actually very thought-provoking. Even the destruction actually happens inside the body only destroys itself, right? In the sense, the heat within the body increases and then suddenly falls, and then there is death. So the Lord uses the body. The body is created, and the body itself is used to destroy it. In the sense, the guna which is there inside, in us, is used to destroy. So there's nothing external coming. Everything, creation, maintenance, destruction, everything is happening within the body. The body is purna, complete. So amazing, Lord's creation. So the destruction doesn't have to come from outside. Destruction also happens within. Construction also happens within. Maintenance also happens from within. Kalam charantam. Yeah, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, yeah, I think in these verses, Prabhupada is explaining that all these influences of victory and failure, and this is all basically based on the material gunas of the person, right? So one question might arise that there are also sattvic people in this world,
Hmm.
and sometimes due to the asuric tendencies of other people, they get impacted, right? Like for example, earlier brahmanas used to survive because cost of living was not very high, and they used to survive by just receiving the alms from upper classes like kshatriya and vaishya. But these days it is not there. Nobody is considering giving protection to brahmanas, so brahmanas are forced to work like shudras, right? For example, a lot of us who are brahmanas are bound to work as shudras because otherwise there is no livelihood. So how to understand this? Like, although the nature of whole material world is going to be deteriorated, but there are also people who might want to continue in mode of goodness. They also get impacted, right? So
Hmm.
how to understand this?
Okay. Real Brahmanas don't get affected. Right. See, the real Brahmana, that's the whole point, right? See, we are thinking we are Brahmanas because maybe we were born in a Brahmana family. I was also born in a Brahmana family, but I don't think I had very less of Brahminical qualities, which is more just Shastric, acumen. But apart from that, not the other qualities of a Brahmana. Right? Samo, Damo, Titiksha, all these qualities have to be there for us to call somebody a Brahmana. But because in Kali Yuga, mixed qualities, all kinds of influences are there. Somebody will be like, can be heavily sattvic in some scenarios, heavily rajasic, tamasic in other scenarios. Right? So we cannot call them Brahmanas. Yeah, real Brahmana, it's by definition, Prabhu, it's by definition. Today also we see some devotees who have reached their Sattvaguna platform. They are living their life totally dependent on Supreme Lord, which is how Brahmanas need to live. So it's not that it's see the world influence. Yeah, we can say that maybe there was a social structure which was supportive. But Brahmanas are such kind of people that irrespective whether there is social support or not, they would have lived their, they according to their mode. But today, because the modes are mixed, so that wholehearted dependence on the Lord is not there, because then suddenly Rajoguna comes in, Tamoguna comes. Tamoguna says, "Oh, how will you make a livelihood? How will you live? The whole society, the whole social structure has collapsed." That is Tamoguna. Because it's not the social structure which is taking care of the Brahmana, it is the Supreme Lord who is taking care of the Brahmana.
Hmm.
So it's our modes actually. It's not so much about whether a Satoguna person can survive. I've seen so many, not just devotees. I mean, I've even seen non-devotees who are just depending on the Supreme Lord and living life. Mm. So Sattva-guna is there. It's not like it's not there, but it's the predominance of Sattva-guna has come down drastically. That is because of the influence of Kali Yuga. I mean, we are all in an age where it is tough to find Sattva-guna prominent, right? And so we are seeing this, but we should understand the reason is not actually it's a holistic thing, right? Like everything influences everything else, right? The society is also like that. People are also like that, and everything works in tandem. That's what it is, right? So
Hmm. Yeah.
okay. Kalam charantam srijatisha ashrayam pradhana pumbhyam naradeva satyakrit. O great king, the supreme person of Godhead, the controller of the material and spiritual energies, who is certainly the creator of the entire cosmos, creates the time factor to allow the material energy and the living energy to act within the limits of time. Thus, the Supreme Personality is never under the time factor nor under the material energy. So, your description of how modes have been created, time has been created, all this has been created by the Supreme Lord, and then his system just functions. Right? It's just a framework he has created, and everything works under his direction through these energies. That's all. Right? So, Lord is not partial. So, it's a simple thing we understand, but it's being explained. One should not think that the Lord is dependent on the time factor. He actually creates the situation by which material nature acts, and by which the conditioned soul is placed under material nature. So this is the result of time factor. Sometimes somebody's time is good, then good things happen. Somebody's time is bad, ugly, etc. So it's all time. Both the conditioned soul and the material nature act within the time factor, but the Lord is not subject to the actions and reactions of time. But time has been created by him. To be more clear, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that creation, maintenance, and annihilation are all under the supreme will of the Lord. Yada yada hi dharmasya. So since Krishna is the controller of everything, when he appears, he is not within the limitations of material time. Janma karma cha medibhyam. In this verse, the words kalam, charantam, shritisha, ashrayam indicate that although the Lord acts within time, whether sattva-guna, rajoguna, or tamoguna is prominent, one should not think that the Lord is under time's control. Meaning, when the Lord appears in this material world, he seems to be acting within the jurisdiction of Kala. But that's just his desire. That's all. He's just doing it. He's not under time's control. Time is within his control, for he creates time to act in a certain way. He is not working under the control of time. The creation of the material world is one of the Lord's pastimes. Everything is fully under his control. Fully. This requires faith, isn't it? This requires faith. If we have this faith, then we are done. Pretty much, material life is done. There is no more chochati kankshati. Because we know everything is fully under his control. Since creation takes place when Rajoguna is prominent, Lord creates the necessary time to give facilities for Rajoguna. So this is very nicely explained, Prabhupada. See, it just breaks down the complexity. So he's saying, okay, for creation to happen, you need Rajoguna. So Lord he has to create the necessary time for creation. So when he creates the necessary time for creation, automatically Rajoguna becomes prominent. So it's not Lord's partiality. It's the need. The creation has to happen because of the jivas who need the material world. So for creation, Rajoguna is required. So Rajoguna becomes prominent. Similarly, he also creates necessary times for maintenance and annihilation. Thus, this verse establishes that the Lord is not under the limitations of time. As stated in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is the supreme controller, Sachidananda Vigraha. He possesses a blissful spiritual body. Anadi is not subordinate to anything. As the Lord confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Matta Parataram Nanyat Kinchidasti Dhananjaya. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Nothing can be above Krishna, for he is the controller and creator of everything. The Mayavadi philosophers say that this material world is mithya, and that one should therefore not bother about this mithya creation. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. But this is not correct. Here it is said Satya Krit. Whatever is created by the Supreme Lord, Satyam Param, cannot be mithya. The creation, the cause of the creation is Satya, true. So how can the effect of the cause be mithya? See again, logic. Cause is Satya because it is the Supreme Lord who is creating. So he is Satya, then how can what he created become mithya? The very word Satyakrit is used to establish that everything created by the Lord is factual, never false. The creation may be temporary, but it is not false. Okay. Any questions? We can close here. Any questions, comments? All okay.
Yes, Roger. One question I have.
Yeah.
Just 1 minute. हाँ वो बैलेंस नहीं आ रहा है तुम्हारा वो यहाँ पे आकर के करना पेमेंट प्रभु so when you said that this attitude, right, which we should have, so in this attitude what all comes? So one is basically the sincerity and what is that,
Seriousness.
seriousness, right? And second is basically purity, then third is basically not having any offenses towards anyone, like seva prad, nama prad, try to not have any criticism of any devotee. Apart from
Okay.
that, any other thing which comes in attitude?
No, for the basic thing is Trinadapi. Basically, everything stems from there. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Trinadapi. I forgot to mention that. So if just we are humble, everything follows. Everything. Because then we will follow the instructions of Acharyas. We will do what they are saying. We will not become independent. So like that. So actually, if we are just, the main thing is Trinadapi. If we feel that we are really worthless, we are, what worth are we? Then everything else follows. But yeah, we can then subsequently break them up into so many other attitudes. Sincerity, seriousness, submission, surrender. Purity is an outcome. If you do all this, then purity comes. Then what else can be added?
Faith in Guru and Shastra.
Faith, yes, faith, very nice. Faith. Yeah. Yeah, submission is willingness to follow, surrender. Yeah, also, yeah, faith and sometimes yeah, submission also means accepting authority. So yeah, somewhat we can say sincerity, seriousness, submission, surrender, faith. I think more or less should cover everything that is required for the right attitude.
Yeah, clear. Prabhu.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Anybody? Okay. Thank you so much for joining. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhishta Kripa Sindhu Bheva cha. पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। समवेत गौरव भक्तवृंद की जय।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.